If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes.
That was Bill Gates back in 2015, 5 years ago, warning about precisely the kind of threat we're all facing right now.
The Gates-funded $3.6 million observational study of HPV vaccines in India that, according to a government investigation, violated the human rights of the study participants.
The one thing we do know is that vaccines protect. That's the one thing we do know.
But if you're unvaccinated, unfortunately, you will not be able to participate in many things. That's the point we're trying to get across. It's time for people to see vaccination as literally necessary to living a good and full and healthy life.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines.
These are criminals. Trump has now officially merged as a chimera clone with Joe Biden.
And what's going on, people? I'm Dave Temple. Welcome to another episode of Unpopular Opinions. I am here with the Seersuckers, Comrade Raw,
Blue Bloods, I guess. I don't know.
Cisco Alderando. How you guys doing this week, man?
Excellent. What's there not to be excellent about?
I was wondering where that was going to go. Excellent.
Yeah, nothing good ever comes after. Hey, yo, you got my money? Yo, that pause, that sigh.
Yeah.
And the intake and the release. Because in the intake, you're thinking of what you're going to say, and in the out, you're thinking, I hope they believe this shit.
I hope they believe it. Yo, you know what's funny? We were talking about this in the car on the way over here, man. Me and Sam, I was curious, has there been any stereotypes that we've reinforced for each other? You know what I mean? I mean, literally, we're a silly joke right now, a white, a black, and a Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? So, I mean, just in the time that we've known each other, have you seen any things where you're like, wow, like, oh, okay, black people really do that, you know? And my boy Dave, he's one. Have you?
Not so much black people, but I will say as far as, like, Philly people go, like, between, like, you and Cotton, y'all definitely reinforce the stereotype that Philly is more physically violent than New York. Just from that one story before. Because when Chris Cotton looked at me and said, so I told him if he took another step, I was going to knock the shit out of him. And I had to pause and be like, wait, you said this? Because in New York, we don't do that. There's dudes who do, but those dudes, they get locked up quick.
Right. You
understand what I'm saying? But, like, that's just like a fact of life. I think there's a lot more fist fights in Philly. You've reinforced that to me. Like, and then walking, when we went to the show in Philly, and we were walking around Philly, like, just from watching people, in New York, New Yorkers are a lot more, like, civil. In Philly, not everybody's ice grilling, but you could definitely tell, like, a lot of people walk around like, yo, all right, just stay the fuck over there.
That's funny you say that, because I would have said the other for you. I feel like the way you talk a lot of times is always, like, so much repressed violence. It always gets to, it's going to be $150 and that. So it's like, there's so much violence in the talk and the speech of New Yorkers where you're like, okay, you know what I mean? I definitely feel like there's an angry underside to Cisco that he's been holding in like fucking Bruce Banner, you know what I mean?
I think with a big part of it also with that, though, is that's not even like a Bronx thing. That's kind of like it's funny you said, like, repressed, because, like, we let a lot of people get away with a lot of shit, like, daily, that you just can't. Like, and not just me, like, all three of us. Just from who we are, what we look like, and the people that we deal with. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of times, like, it's a running gag with me, like, that whole $150 shit.
Yeah.
Like, I think my favorite was probably, like, the John Mayer $150 line. I thought that was hilarious.
I want to get $150 by John Mayer.
By John Mayer's peoples, you know what I mean? Which would be like, I don't even know, like a bunch of hot chicks running up on you.
Yeah.
With razors.
Yeah, and that's such a Bronx way of even thinking that's how problems are solved.
$150's not Bronx, though. $150's Queens. You know who brought that into hip hop was Prodigy. Prodigy and Mobb Deep. Yeah, man. It's a cool phrase, so you run with it, which but yeah, it's funny. For the most part, I think that's like whistling past the graveyard, because, like, where you say repress, I'm like, because if I don't joke about it, it's gonna fester.
Yeah.
And the older you get, the more you sit on shit, I think. So, like, you guys haven't, like, reinforced. If anything, like, the interesting thing, like, with y'all was that, like, again, not an ethnic thing, but like as a comedy thing, was like it was refreshing for me to see the stereotype of like comics who like talk shit get like broken, because like for all the time I've been in this, you know, motherfucker, yo, we doing this, we doing that, we doing this, we doing that, and then you get a fucking phone call like, yo, we having a phone. Oh, yo, yeah, okay, we doing real shit. We like, this is official shit that we doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody being like, yeah, man, we gonna do a writing group, but then it's like, okay, then you show up and everybody's just getting fucked up. You're like, this is not a writing group. This is not.
That's funny you say that. That's what I want to do now. I'm like, hey man, like now when people be like, we should get together, I'm like, all right, we should smoke together first and see if we find each other funny. Because, you know, I don't know. But now I'd say Conrad has definitely enforced some stereotypes for me that it's just like, you know, white people have a better life. I've traveled with Conrad. Conrad goes through states with no ID. Laid back, not a care in the world.
He's definitely driving.
Yeah. Like, Conrad understands gambling to a point where it's like he can go from being like, I'm about to lose a bunch of money to I figured everything out, everything's fine, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? It's a whole other level, like Zach Morris level. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you're doing behind the scenes.
Well, the gambling is a different system. I know I try to lay it out a lot, but it's very easy. There's a long shot, and you're like, this shouldn't be as long of a long shot as it is.
Yeah.
So I bet on those. And then when it gets close, I bet against it.
Yeah, it's like, it's weird. And he's told me that so many times, and I wish I understood the concept.
So, for example, here's basically what I did. I bet more than $1, but say I bet $1 on something that was 100-to-1 odds.
Okay.
All right? And that was for the Hawks to win the Eastern Conference Finals.
Uh-huh.
And they made the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
So I bet $50 against the Hawks. So now either way, I win $50.
I get the algebraic equation. Right. If your long shot gets there, then you bet against the long shot.
Just close
to
enough.
Cover it.
Yeah,
either way.
It's
I got
hedging.
That's cool.
So that's all that it is.
That's a lot better than I like their helmets.
Yeah, like the
happening?
day-to-day gambling, you don't know who's like doing coke or was out all night. Like why day-to-day, you don't know what's going to happen on day. NFL's easier because it's very consistent. Like every game matters, but like NBA betting day-to-day, what do you know what those guys did last
Right, because
night?
they're playing so many. Is it because they're playing so many more games that you're able to just be like, hey,
well, it's best
I can
of
go out and
7
fuck up
series.
to tonight. You know what I mean? I can go fuck up tonight because well, you're talking about titles. Okay, cool. I thought you were talking about like day-to-day. Like day-to-day,
no.
the NBA has more games. Like MLB is 162 games.
Right.
NBA is what, 82?
Yeah.
So you, at least 20% of those games, somebody's got to be at the bench like, yo, don't put me in. I'm fucked up.
Yeah. So why go day to day? I bet on long shots. So like
Gotcha.
Mets to lose the play, not to make the playoffs. I bet Braves to make the play. I make it. It's long because you can look at numbers and it's a long term thing. But as far as the other stuff, yeah, I wonder what I get away with. I don't know. You'd have to be there because you are like
it's the whitest thing he
you
said.
would be like my black stand-in, I guess, because same height. You know what I mean? Like we have the benefits because people say sometimes to me, check your privilege, and I'm like, which one? I got my hair. I'm 6'3". I'm white. Which one is the one that I need to check? So you have all that, but you're just black. So like I wonder what like I get away with for what. You know, it's like a hypothetical like a body switch type thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know what I get away with. I know I get away like I get hired for things because people are like we need somebody tall and that people are afraid of. You know what I mean? But I don't. I just don't know. Like, there's certain things like, people don't bother me about. I walk into hotels. I go right to the bathroom. You know, like everyone.
Well, you walk right into hotels without wearing like a suit. You walk right into a hotel in plain clothes.
Like if I walk into a hotel and go to the bathroom, the security guard, if they're good, they will catch me before I go, hey, are you staying here? And it's funny, like, I get that. I think we talked about this. I went to a baseball game a couple weeks ago.
Sucks.
I was sitting in row 14. They checked my tickets repeatedly. And I was happy to show them because I was like, I'm in the right today. You know what I mean? Like,
and you know
this
what
is
it is?
why I couldn't be sitting with you.
And
why?
Because the first time they would have checked, the first words out of my mouth would have been like, hey, yo, tell everybody that fucking work here to back the fuck up.
I don't have that anger or that rage in me, man. I wish I did. You know what I mean?
I understand, like my whole life is about avoiding inconveniences.
Yeah.
So I'm going to want to be where I don't stand out.
Right.
So then I do understand if they say like, oh, this people they feel comfortable living in the hood or whatever, I would do the same thing. It's like, I don't want to go out there because I look different out there. I'm going to stay here where I look the same and I can blend in and nobody bothers me.
And that's the funny thing about blending in. That's actually going to lead into this unpopular opinion that I want to talk about. Like, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to blend in.
Yeah.
Like, my Philly accent is probably less thick now that I'm here in New York and I have to matriculate. And, it's probably my different slang and vernacular. Even your tone, your walk becomes what it is because you have to fit in. Now, I grew up in the 90s, 80s, 90s, where men were men. Even if they were gay, they were still trying to be men because you had to put out a thing of masculinity. Then there were the guys that had the, like, openly just soft voice. You ever come across a soft-spoken man, a nice, hey, how is everyone doing today? And today we're going to be working on, and you're like, ooh, something about that voice is untrustworthy to me. Like, it's something about a feminine male voice that just comes across as untrustworthy, even though he's being very vulnerable. I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's almost like a politician. Like it's like halfway between masculine and or no. If you take the average of feminine voice and masculine voice and you put it together, it's a politician, right? They have to talk in a certain way. It's like
and be non-threatening.
Because I think the thing is, there's no bad mood there. The soft voice, there's no bad mood. So it's like if there's no bad mood, then I'm getting the fake you. I can't vibe with this. You know what I mean?
And then also too, like, when someone's like a little too soft-spoken, like you don't know if they're like on Prozac or anything like that. Like, is this the real you or are you medicated?
Yeah, and understand when I say soft-spoken, I'm not talking about someone who just speaks with a low voice and in a whisper where you can barely hear them. I'm talking about that feminine voice, like you ever see a guy like that that's married?
Yes.
You ever see a guy and then he's like, and this is my wife, Brittany, and you're like, okay, bitch, come here, we need to talk, like. How?
It's I've known so many people so many men like that because I'm a little bit older than you. Go back to the early 80s. Everybody was androgynous.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Pop music. David Bowie. Fucking just, yeah. You have the male and that female energy, especially in entertainment, was so Prince, early Prince. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't know who he wanted to fuck, but somebody was getting fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, like having like grown up with it, it's funny because for me it's like a flashback of like, oh man, I remember when I was a kid because you don't hear like that anymore.
And then there was like the hair metal, and then
everybody went in the early '80s up to say like '86, '87. Everybody was really had a real feminine energy, and I don't know. You like what you like when you grew up, so but
right.
But what
I think music
Dave,
was
I
superior.
think if we dug just one layer deeper, we'd know why that is. And have people with effeminate voices done something to you, or it's my projection of you is that you're just very pro-masculine as you should be.
Yeah.
And very anti.
But it's the fear, like, I don't know what they'll do to me. I don't think anyone with a soft voice ever did anything to me. I think definitely like a masculine man did something to me, but I'm like, all right, I know what's coming.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now when someone else is like, okay, here's a new threat, but like, how do I
that makes sense.
defend myself from
yeah,
this?
yeah.
Like, what the fuck is
I
this?
do get that.
You know what I mean? And then nothing happens, and then you're like, hey, that's even creepier.
But maybe they're just setting you up. They're slow playing it.
Yeah. Well, now you're just feeding into my hood paranoia. I appreciate that.
I'm the same way. I hate when people are nice to me. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like if they're overly nice to you, like, hold on a second here.
Because you're always wondering what's behind the back of the person who's extending the hand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But like overly nice. Like if people are nice, every once in a while I'll be like, all right, thank you, whatever. But I don't know. There is something.
Everybody wants something out of you, but it's the person who's being really nice that isn't telling you exactly what he wants, so he's probably angling to take more than you want to give.
Yes. I've even met people who have, like, nothing to offer and then be, like, really nice, and I'm be like, what is this? I mean, is this how
they
you
trying to
take?
take?
No, just weird. It's weird.
Why you think the dudes in Times Square are so polite to you? They trying to take your money. So it's like, yo, what's up, sir? How you doing, sir? Yo, you want to buy this CD or you want to buy these comedy tickets or whatever it is?
Yeah, because if you really needed something, you wouldn't say, oh, excuse me, sir. Like if you were hurt, shot, desperate, call an ambulance. Like, okay, That's the one I need to respond to, you know?
Yeah.
So for anybody that's in the CDs trying to sell jump drives or mixtapes or however the fuck you distribute it, stop asking, can you have a moment at a time? You need to walk up to them, you got to buy this shit right now. Like, you got to make it an emergency. You know what I mean? Like a fire sale or some shit.
Buy this or you going to be my next single.
So, another thing I want to talk about, it seems as though Republicans are kind of becoming funnier than liberals these days.
Yeah, I
sad,
mean,
but yeah.
I think so because I think funny is about pushing the limits. Like, if you're like draw a line in the sand, you're like, don't cross that line. Then you're like, I'm not cross. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it's always been. But you know, now like conservatives are not making the. I guess this is popular opinion, aren't they? They used to make like the Christian right used to make all of the censorship. And
they
now
gave
the
us the stickers on records. The PMRC. That's all conservative.
Like experiment.
The People's
Parental Advisory.
Yeah, exact parental
But
advisory.
yeah, like
special
now
lyrics, that's
but
conservative.
everyone who says don't say that is now ultra liberal. And then if you look at even like people who are like liberal comedians, even it's like the most popular ones. They're like they go on. They're like, you know, almost like political mouthpieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you
like
know,
all the late night shows or whatever like that.
I think a big part of that is there's so many categories now. There's so many people who can be offended who have a voice, right? You got to protect everybody, so don't say anything. I think that's what it is. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
no, but we talked about that before too, where like that, it's like it's weird because you're getting an awareness, which is a nuisance. We might be getting better for it, but making somebody aware of something, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, if we were doing something fun, like you ever been a kid and you're like, yo, we got a little kiddie pool out. Oh shit, there's a kid. And like, you know how your accent, you don't hear shit right. So kiddie pool, you're not thinking it's for kids. You're thinking kitty. You see a stray cat, kitty. Oh, boom, put the kitty in the pool. Now you don't realize you are drowning this cat, but you are having a good time. Now, when someone points out the fact that you're drowning this cat, that makes everybody sad. It's like, oh, well, you're a fucking asshole for letting these kids know.
I mean,
what they were doing.
That was an example.
That was probably the most savage example we could have come up with.
Because I want you to understand, like, I want you to understand how fucked up everybody's doing something fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, we grew up on campaigns telling people to drink milk, right?
Yep.
Drink milk. It does a body good, right? Even though it wasn't true, we all drink milk for years, and then find out it was a supporting industry that was just abusing the shit out of cows. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, well, I was drinking milk being a good boy. Now you're letting me know that I was actually being a bad boy by being a good boy. Like, yeah, you're an asshole. You're confusing me. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Just let me drink my milk in peace. I'm being a good boy.
Yep.
Yeah, whoever makes rules, I don't think is fun to be around. If you're the rule maker, no fun. Rule breakers, they're funny.
Yeah, the only way the rule guy is fun is if he's your friend and you either have input on the rules or you get to break the rules.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like it's not nothing against them. They just have to play that role. You have to make the rules, so therefore you're not going to be fun. Like our parents were probably pretty fun people to be around before they had us, and then had to make rules for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're a contemporary of your parents, they'd be your best friends. They wouldn't be your fucking parents.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to think. My younger kid, I was more fun for my older kid than my younger kid. That was
because you learned how to be
still
a fucking parent.
drinking. Yeah, like my older daughter didn't have to wear a seatbelt. Like whatever. Now the younger one's all tied up, and it's like, yeah, whatever. But you know, speaking of rules, if you guys, do you feel the rule? We've never talked about it, but I think we all know it. If someone says I love you, you're supposed to say I love you back. That's a rule, right? Like if you're in love with someone, you're in a relationship, and your significant other looks at you and goes, I love you, you have to say it back. That's a rule, right?
I think it's better to withhold that.
I do too. I don't think you should say it back, especially because you don't mean it at that moment. You don't there's no way if you're looking at me and you're feeling like, oh, I love you while I was watching TV, I'm watching TV. So now I got to step out of this to go, nah, I love you too.
Yeah,
like
it's rarely do people have to go to the bathroom at the same time, or rarely are people hungry more frequently, but you feel different things at different times. So it's like, yeah, you feel that way, but I don't feel that way right now. So give me a break. Let me clear my head, and I will feel that way. Like if we're not if I'm not watching fucking.
The rules is kind of it's more of an expectation, which is even worse, because now if you don't say it like right back, or you don't reciprocate like right away, there's a problem. For me, I have the most. It's funny in my family, we say that shit if you walk out the fucking room, I'm going to get a snack. I love you. You have to say it. So because that could be the last thing. I grew up with that being the last thing that you could say to somebody. The last time you see, you walk in this room, you might not walk back in this room. That's mad Catholic. So in every relationship, son, every relationship I've ever been in, yo, I love you. And also blame Han Solo, because I was never cool enough to say I know, but I was like give you a hug or something, or like give you a kiss or whatever. You know what I mean? But I would never like say it. Like I think at almost every chick I've ever, they definitely said it first, and I know in at least once or twice, they was like you love me, you love me, and I was like, oh, you just can't say it, and I was like, nah, I love you. But like for me to be like mad spontaneous with it, like nah, dude. That you talk about violence being repressed. That shit is all the way down on the bottom of my feet.
Yeah, love and violence, they go together. So
I walk on that shit. Some people walk on sunshine, motherfucker. I walk on love.
Right. But yeah, I think that's fucked up because you think about it. I don't know if I initiate I love yous enough, but that doesn't mean that I don't love the person.
I'm not better at it now. Like now I say it.
You know what?
That, as you get older, you say it more.
I think I say it more so out of because I learned. I say it the same reason why I wear masks, just to not get hassled. You know what I mean? So it's like now I got to think about it, like almost like I set a little mental timer, like every few hours, like hey, I love you, hey, I love you. You know what I mean? And it's weird because, like, if I were to insult you over and over and over again, eventually the sting wears off, right?
Right.
Like eventually being teased about something for years, I mean, Gay Blind Mike, being called blind does not bother him anymore, right?
My man, Big Mike right there. I wish motherfucker would.
But, like, that doesn't happen with love, telling somebody you love them.
No, because love is the opposite of animosity and hate. So, yeah, it only makes it stronger.
I don't know about that. I think everything gets diluted over time. That's
why
God,
I'll admit to being a little bit romantic, so you're probably right.
Well, that's why God said, do not use my name in vain. You'll wear it out.
See, you know what's interesting? As you get older, you learn that there's different types of love. So, like, it becomes, like for me, like when we lost Kenny, it broke up a lot of people because, like, they were like, oh, man, I never got to tell him that, that I loved him. And I was thinking about it. I was like, you didn't say it enough because I know we've all said it to each other, like in that circle. We've all said it to each other. Y'all forget, maybe we drunk or whatever, but we all knew.
Yeah.
Just because you didn't get to say it. Like there's people who walk through their lives that they haven't heard. Think about it. They haven't heard that from their parents. You haven't heard it from your father because your father didn't want to make you soft. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Or you never heard that from your mother because your mother, whatever, So as you get older, like I definitely say it like a lot more, to people. It's part of like giving people their flowers when they're here. It's like, yo, but take this, man. Yo, I love you. I love you even though just because I love you don't mean I like you. I got love for you. I might not even fuck with you like that, but it's all love. I got, life's too short for that shit. But yeah, I think if when you say it to somebody that you're in love with, that reminder helps for all the times that they annoy the fuck out of you. Because the other part of being in a relationship with somebody, a lot of the times, just like, this motherfucker here.
So you're saying tell a motherfucker you love him more so to convince yourself, to remind yourself. Shit, I do love this motherfucker. All right, go ahead and tell him because I was pissed a little while ago.
You ever see them couples that they physically fight each other almost every day?
Yeah.
But they love each other. They don't know any other way to express it, though, when they get angry at each other. This is how I was raised. When I get mad, we have a physical altercation. It's scary to look at, but they love each other because if you try to break them up, they'll start fighting you. This is what they do. But the reason they're able to stay together is because they tell each other all the time, I love you, I love you. Never mind the fact whether they should be together or not. Listen, if you fighting more than you fucking, maybe you should break up or go to therapy or something. But I've been around that energy.
What if it's equal and it's a lot?
Yeah, what if one comes? What if one comes before the other because one gets you fired up sexually?
I've seen it.
Because like, all right, if it's equal and it's high, that's bad. But if it's equal and it's low, Do people consider that normal, or is that just marriage?
Yeah.
Marriage is just, all right, we had like 2 fights this month, and, you know, we one
You
and a half.
want to you want to keep track of it on the calendar.
One
so
and a
you can
half sex.
Have an Excel spreadsheet to do the math.
No doubt. To commit to that shitty role, all of those people, just like the girl Flo from the Allstate commercial or those cavemen people, they don't get to act in anything else. You know what I mean? You do a good job in a commercial like that, boom, it's done. You're too fucking recognizable, you know? Like that guy who was a Can You Hear Me Now? The only other job he could do was doing that for another company. You know what I mean? Like, he was too famous.
Yeah, I think being in commercials, famous in commercials, is terrible for you, right? You can never.
Didn't
get
used
away
to
from
be.
it.
There was the poor lady, Nance. Not the poor lady, but the lady from was it Bounty, the cricket picker-upper when I was a kid. She was an actress in movies and stuff, and then she booked that gig, and then she was the Bounty cricket picker-upper later until, yeah, dude, Mr. Whipple.
Mr. Whipple?
Don't squeeze the Charmin. I'm showing my age here.
Okay.
Captain Kangaroo. Great Sam Kinison bit, by the way, if anybody wants to go back to YouTube. Sam Kinison, Captain Kangaroo. It's exactly what we were talking about. How like Captain Kangaroo is like, I wanted to do Death of a Salesman. I wanted to be William. I'm Captain Kangaroo. Yeah, it's fucking.
Yeah, man.
Also, I mean, it's the same thing when your song goes on a commercial too. It's finished forever. It's in your head.
Which was weird that Juvenile did that Vax That Thing Up remix, and black people didn't respond to it well. And then it disappeared after like a week.
Because his pandering is fucked.
Yeah.
It's worse than Hillary Clinton having fucking hot sauce in her purse.
You think they clearly paid him to do that, right?
I don't think he gives a fuck. I think once you hit a certain point of entertainment, as Jordan said, Republicans buy sneakers too, motherfucker. Shit.
And I don't think he's wrong for taking a check.
No, not at all.
It's just weird that how much do you think they paid him for them to no longer be running that commercial?
You signed a contract. Maybe it wasn't even for that long. I mean, you don't know the specifics of the contract, but the fact that it didn't go viral leads me to believe that even if it would have, I don't think he would have distanced himself from it, but maybe they only licensed it for like a little, because you can only buy but so much ad time. So like they buy the first cycle of ads, and then once the reaction comes in, they go, well, we're not going to run these again because everybody rightfully shit over it. The idea that you can, at least it was Juvenile himself, and not somebody licensing the music and then putting a fucking cartoon bee or something. You know what I mean?
I think that would have been better for him.
I think it would have been better too because he wouldn't be laughed at for getting. But then again, he doesn't mind getting laughed at because hopefully he's like, hey, people should be vaccinated. Maybe he thought he was helping. You know?
Well, yeah, I mean, he is helping. I mean, people.
But he don't give a fuck if you laugh at him or not.
Black
because
people
his
are
audience
not
is there.
Yeah, black people are not getting vaccinated, and they needed a bit of a push.
Which, to be fair, unpopular opinion. The fact that people of color are wary of getting vaccinated and this is unpopular opinion against my people. I get it. Yeah, the American government did horrible shit, right? Tuskegee experiment, horrible. Forced sterilization in Puerto Rico, horrible. Motherfucker, that was all those years ago where they didn't have litigation. You understand that shit?
Yeah.
Now you get a fucking head cold. Why do you think the medications have to list every possible side effect? It's not because they don't give a fuck if you live or die. It's because if they don't tell you, you could sue them. So again, the threat of spending money is what made everybody be a little bit safer when it came to this shit.
Well, I see. I guess he just walked in, and his whole purpose is helping getting black people vaccinated.
I've been waiting for this for a long fucking time.
Geno Bisconte, ladies and gentlemen, man, get him on here. Geno.
Before we go any further, very few
Baby
people in the comedy world that honestly say that I fucking love. I love fucking Geno Bisconte.
Hey,
die on that hill.
How you doing, man?
I'm making friends everywhere I fucking go. I just was posting a picture of me smoking a cigar at the 50th Street subway station today. On the subway, smoking a cigar, basically saying "suck a dick." Can I say "suck a dick"? I don't want to be a cunt.
Go ahead.
Can I say "suck a dick"?
Absolutely.
De Blasio, I did.
You're the equivalent of like black people with pill speakers on the train.
First of all, am I the equivalent of black or people?
Oh.
Look, I don't care if you're black or human, gay or normal. I don't care.
Black or human.
Gay or normal is my favorite. It's great. And you're the only one, dude. The joke I wrote about about the bat with the no one eats wings with you? When
Oh
we
my
were
God!
dying?
Yeah,
It's
you
one of
still
the-
doing that?
That's my only
Absolutely.
good joke.
That
Am I
is
still doing
hilarious.
that? I do it 40 times, and that's my 45-minute set. Are you insane?
Absolutely
Oh,
hilarious.
people suck. I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong. 99% of people are great. And 99% of people can sit like me and you on different sides of the spectrum and get hammered. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And toast our buddy fucking, Ortega. And then sit there like, yeah, this is what's going on. We all get it.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my God, like what's going on in the world now? I'm sitting back and I'm enjoying it. You know
As
what I
you
mean?
should.
Oh,
As you
and you know
should.
what I say in my act now that I love? I'm like, I do jokes about racism. I'm like, I'm not racist. I'll prove it. I'm unvaccinated. If I was racist, I'd get vaccinated. So 70% of you people couldn't come in to wherever I want to go that's vax only. And the white people are like, and I'll be the white people. Ready? Oh, okay. Okay, the colored fella laughed. He didn't lose his mind. And this is what I said. And I don't care if you're like Republican, whatever. I'm like, we get to watch the left fall all over themselves. And as he is my witness, when the world was normal 4 years ago or before this, did I ever sit there like Trump is the answer? I don't vote. I didn't vote. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the stupidity. Like, I'm not vaccinated, and I can get the fake card, but I honestly want to make sure people know I'm not vaccinated so they can act accordingly. Not like I'm not vaccinated. What are you gonna do? Like, if you have a problem with it, I'll walk away.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I want to see what happens over the next couple weeks because I think it's going to be genuinely fascinating and exciting to watch.
Well, if Popeyes or somebody else happens to release a new chicken sandwich and we're lined up for it, just know that the vaccine is probably in.
And I also heard it's like, let me tell you, 52-year-old, I'm going to be able to, if I'm right about one more thing, I'm going to start building a I Am Legend lab in my basement. I honestly am.
Okay.
I honestly am.
What were the other things you were right about?
Everything. Do you watch In Hot Water?
Nah. Huh?
In Hot Water, I walk through it. Let me tell you, and you could look all this up on In Hot Water. The vaccinated are the ones spreading the variants. It's a fact. It's a fact. I said vitamin D cures it. They're like, no, then why is everyone dying? Well, because let's say that you're you and your heritage is on the equator. So every day you wake up and your skin is like, God damn, it's fucking hot. I've had enough sunlight. And then you move to North America and your skin wakes up and goes, I don't know how to absorb sunlight more, so you don't get vitamin D. Mm-hmm. Well, then you are deficient in vitamin D. Well, then why are fat people dying? Well, you see, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. So when you have vitamin D stored in fat, it can't get out. You need 10 times as much. Yeah, but what about your 1.2% chance of dying if you're 52 years old? No, let me do a little thing called SPELLING math. 99% of the 1.5% are fat, obese, asthmatic, over 80 people.
Yeah.
My chances, but dumb people don't know that.
Yeah.
You understand? They don't. They're like, if I were to get COVID, and I've tried, just not good at it. I was at a super spreader event. Didn't mean to bring up your sister. I was at a super spreader event. I didn't call your sister because she's black and they're fertile. But my point is, I sat between a competitive eater, George Chigger. I said Chigger, and a fucking guy who's fat. 600 pounds of COVID between me. They both got it. You know who didn't? This little fucking vindictive prick. And everything I've said is a fact. And they want you to sit there and be frightened and terrified. And, like, let me tell you, if you're vaccinated, I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
Find a clip of me. The only thing harder to find than a clip of me ever saying, don't get vaccinated, or a clip of me saying COVID's a hoax because it's not, would be finding a single picture of George Floyd with all 5 of his kids in the same picture because it doesn't exist because he doesn't know parent is a verb. By the way, let's call George Floyd up. I can't because him and Fez are dead. Dead. You remember Fez, who one time I called him a FAG queer on his show?
Fez had an effeminate voice.
Fez was a self-hating gay person, and I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't care if you're gay or normal. Let me explain it to you. I'm implying gay people. I just don't have time for everyone. Like, remember when comedy used to be about just what we do, make people laugh. And you're like, look, I don't think that. I don't care. Either you laugh or you don't. And now we need to laugh more than ever. More than ever.
And the thing is, people who laugh, like people who make jokes on harsh things, hey, there's someone who appreciates that.
Yeah.
Like, we don't all laugh at the same thing. Have you guys seen the channels? There's 1,500 of them, all right? There's different shit on every channel.
Yeah.
Like, there's some shit that you see on television that is not funny at all to me.
Yeah.
But it's the biggest show.
It's
in
called
fucking-
Comedy Central, but go on.
biggest show in history.
Yeah.
Biggest show in history. So clearly I'm missing out on something, but it's just we don't vibrate at the same frequency.
Right.
I grew up in Philly. We laughed at people falling. I don't know why that's funny. It's still funny to this
you beat
day.
me too. It's still funny. I was
Yeah,
gonna say, oh my God.
like the more they get hurt, the funnier it is. You know,
We
like,
show a clip on In Hot Water. It's like, and it's a burn commercial, and it's like a workplace safety commercial. And some woman is carrying a big pot of boiling water, and she slips and falls on her face. And we show it on loop, and we go like this. All right, play it again. I won't laugh this time. And you know what? We do. We do. We laugh every time.
right. So what you need to laugh is going to be different.
Yeah, and do any of us who have like a darker sense of humor, you know, I fucking watch it, like to sit and watch him host a show, it's like hold on for life, and you don't know where it's gonna go, and it's fucking fun.
Yeah,
you know, and I think I thought, that like all the, and I'm gonna say Karens because but all the uptight people are gone, but they're not. They're creeping back, and it's like I just double down. It's like I don't give a fuck. It's like I'm equipping you to laugh at what's not easy to laugh at the dark shit. You understand? And like I do a lot of jokes about the Holocaust because in the late 90s, I backpacked through Europe, and these girls are like, hey, let's go to the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam, which I didn't even know. And you're there, and there's a moment where you're like, oh my God, and all the adjectives fall away, and you're like, oh my God, this was humans letting humans kill other humans.
Yeah.
And you don't give a fuck about race, religion, color. You're like, you're embarrassed to be a fucking human. Then you do these jokes in a show, and people are like, I didn't laugh. See me not laughing? Yeah, who gives a fuck? These are the people that would never, that when you say, well, have you ever been to Anne Frank's house in Germany? No, good, because it's not in Germany, you stupid TWAT cunt. You say that to them. And they're like, yeah, but I knew not to laugh. And now more than ever, people need to realize laughter is like the best medicine. It's not a phrase, it's a fact.
Yeah.
It relieves stress, it releases endorphins. And that's why, and I think we all, we all had this discussion over the past year. It's like, I'm not saying it's conspiracy theory. Well, who are they? I don't know, but whoever they are, they made sure to prioritize opening up comedy clubs last. Opening up Broadway last. Because people that are happy, people that are laughing, people that are entertained aren't frightened. And it's easier to control frightened people. I'm not telling anything you don't know. It's a fact.
Yeah.
And people now that sit there and be like, oh, I don't think that's funny, and they make a face and try and stop you from laughing. In my opinion, that's a fucking hate crime. It is now. Not the kind you jerk off to. I mean like a hate crime. Thanks for laughing, because you've heard me tell that joke 80 fucking times.
To be fair, I was drunk 40 of the times, so I don't remember.
Let me tell you one story. Just indulge me. We hadn't hung out we do the LOL Club, quit bragging, but we're there. And he's like, I'm thinking of getting a drink, and I'm on stage, and it's going along, and I do this joke, and I look at him in the back. I'm like, we're drinking after this. He's like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, we had to go.
We went for one drink. How long did that one drink take?
4 hours.
It's on my Instagram. 4 hours later, he's like, I gotta go. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have one.
At his credit, he walked to the train, got on the train, fucking made him
I
say.
used to be able to comfortably kill a day at Sullivan's. You know,
I love that
I could
place.
come into the city at 10 a.m., do a show at Compound, and hang out at Sullivan's, and then they'd be like, oh, this show is on. Let's go back over there and trash it. And then we just go back into Sullivan's, and then before you know it, it's time to do spots, and you're like,
what?
You know what? Like and the sad part is it's not the best way to spend a day, but it is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's the best way to spend a day.
But 100%. 100%.
Let's say you have a job there, and back before COVID, you have it at 9 in the morning. And I said this, like, maybe we do live in a simulation, because I think in my simulation, I created COVID. You ready? I'll say it. To save my life. If, like, we all have the fucking Google pictures. It's like, hey, here's your memories from 2019. I would do what you did. I would, like, the morning, we would go on 9 to 10:15, 10:30 to 11:30 was morning, and I would sit there, and I've said this before, I don't know what time you have to get up to get to Midtown Manhattan by 9 a.m. And get there with a bottle of Jameson. But I'm going to drink it with you. I don't have to tell you guys. And you know what I'm going to do afterwards? I'm going to take you to Sullivan's across the street and drink with you more. Okay? But, and again, you'll relate to this. When you shut down the studio because of COVID and say, look, you can't have guests in the studio, and you shut the bar across the street, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drink, not because I'm like, well, I'm done drinking. I'm like, this is no fun. And dumb people will say to you, why don't you just drink in a Zoom meeting? And we'll look at them like, well, and I love gay people, but I'm not a faggot, because I don't want to sit there going Zoom and drinking alone. So I literally lost 30 pounds over 7 months without drinking. And when I went and hung out with family at Thanksgiving. Like, how'd you lose all this weight? I'm like, you can't do what I did. They're like, what'd you do? I'm like, I'm not being cocky. I don't think anyone here can cut 3 bottles of Jameson. And I'm not kidding. I looked the color of your blazer. I did. And I used to think, well, I'm just getting up early. And I'm like, no, you're drinking your liver to death. And it's like now, it's like, well, are you done drinking? And when people would say, congrats on quitting drinking, it was like stolen valor. I'm like, no, I could not. I know I'm drinking again.
Yeah.
There's video proof of us doing that. And I love drinking again. I don't drink like I used to, but I get my money's worth when I drink now. And I do that at Sullivan's. But I was doing that 3 days a week on average. And it was BANANAS insane.
Yeah, man. I was always impressed by, like I said, I couldn't indulge in it 3 days a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was fun to do every, like maybe once a month, to kill a day with you guys. And I appreciated you guys were doing it because that one day a month that I needed it, you guys were there.
Oh, yeah. We always had you back. We're big fans of Dave Temple. You know that.
So, what is your unpopular opinion this week?
Everything I say is an unpopular opinion. I mean, I know. Well, I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
But I'm a piece of shit now.
Yeah.
I honestly, I haven't changed my act at all. I do jokes about race and religion because I live in East Harlem. I live on 104th and 1st. I get up fucking every day. Well, like 2-3 days a week, and I go out my neighborhood. I jump rope before my show, and like I talk to all the neighbors. And I'm gonna tell you, most of them are black or Spanish, and we all get along. But they sit there and they want us to believe there's a race war, fucking because people as white as that fucking backdrop in politics are like, no. Let me tell you, this is where white guilt came from. Okay, I've never felt more like I'm the grandson of an immigrant. I'm 52. I think I started saying that 3 years ago. No, excuse me, 3 months ago because I never realized, okay? Because my father died of lung cancer because when my grandfather got here from Sicily in the 1920s, they didn't say, please, that's assume. They didn't say, oh, you're white. Why don't you just grab a slave and take the job of your choice? They're like, look, you filthy son of a bitch. Mm-hmm. Good luck with the world. They're like, here's your shit. And they wind up farming in fucking South Jersey. Same thing. My mother's father is another farmer from Abruzzi, which is the boot of Italy. And they were farmers, okay?
Farming in Jersey? Why didn't they rent jet skis?
No, way South Jersey, Vineland. Fucking you're Philly. I'm sorry.
Abruzzi, by the way. Shout out to Bruno Sammartino.
I'm going to let you laugh because it really was good. I'm getting carried away, and I need to be reminded how funny it is. I apologize. But that's my point. It's like when you see these fucking people with the white guilt, okay? Their white guilt is not us. It's like that kid. Look at that kid. He jerks off to the History Channel. But white guilt. Thanks for not saying I hear that. You realize it's the people that can trace their fucking history, their ancestry, to the Mayflower. And they're the fucking people, even this kid gets it, and he's 11. They're the people that sat at the gates of this country for fucking 300 years going, go home, coon, go home, spick, go home, wop, go home, incredibly white guy who's not as white as us somehow. That's what they did. And now they feel bad, and they want us to feel bad, and we're like, yeah, we don't care. Let me tell you how many things I got over black people for being white. None, because I'm black in my neighborhood. Do you understand? I didn't get anything, but they want me, yeah, but you're white. Suck a dick. Sit down, kids. Suck a dick. They want us to feel their guilt. We don't. We look like, no. And you want me to believe Nancy Pelosi, who lives in a mansion, is like, I can help fucking these poor black people that, God forbid, I'm not racist. I don't call black people you people. I wait till they leave the room, and then I say, those people. Yeah, I can't be bothered with this. And that's an unpopular opinion because I do jokes about race. It's hilarious to make fun of all the race. We're not a racist country. We have every race because we let everybody in. Yeah. And they want us to be like, yeah, but you got to really recognize race. Then leave. You wake up. Every day you wake up in not just this country. Every day you wake up, there's an 80% chance you will wake up in China or India. China, that's all communist, and India, where they're not fucking people. They shit on the beach in India. They shit on the beach. There was a story one time where they're like, they walk by and they're like, yeah, I walked by and 5 or 6 people shit on the beach. Let me explain how that makes you not people.
Yeah, you're a cat at that point.
Yeah, but if you saw anyone shitting on the beach here in America, you'd get an exact count. You're like, how many people are shitting on the beach? You wouldn't go like this, 5, maybe 6. You'd stop. You'd count. You'd say, 6 people
Yeah.
are shitting on a beach?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be like, whatever, because they're not people. And yet people are like, yeah, this country sucks. I don't know if you're bored. Go on Twitter and watch the guy who's stuck in the landing gear of the fucking plane. Plenty of leg room on that flight.
The Afghanistan
Why are they
people.
trying so hard to get to this racist country?
Yeah.
Stop believing the fucking lies. And I got rid of cable. The only thing I missed in the past month was I really wanted to watch Chris Cuomo's return yesterday. You know, when he had look, I will give him props because he said what we'd all say. Hey, it's my brother. I can't. Like that. I'm like, I want to hate him. Like, I respect the guy. He's like, it's my brother. Well, you should have. Fuck you. It's my brother. He punched a nut in the face. Yeah, I just didn't cover it. I didn't cover it. Why? It's my fucking brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
fucking
respect
loyalty.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired of people throwing people under the bus when someone gets canceled.
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense. We recently had this discussion. I don't know if we did this on this show or this was just in my house having these conversations, but I was really, really admire the loyalty. There was a time O.J. Simpson had 3 friends in the world. Yeah. 3. He went from millions and millions of people loving him to only 3. And you know what it's like to stand by someone like OJ, or the same thing, the people who stood by Cosby. Like, even if you think this person is a disgusting piece of shit, you don't recognize that loyalty to be like, well, I was already with him. Like, fuck
to
you
be
guys.
fair, one of those guys that were OJ's friends was his retared lawyer friend who had to unretire so he could stay his friend.
Kardashian. I think it was Kardashian.
He was like, yo, I fucked with you, but I can't. You know what? Hold on. I'll be right back. I got to go rebar myself.
Come on,
Because
son.
if
That's
not,
a
I got to
real
testify.
friend, man. That is a real
we're not saying,
friend.
and we're not saying what he did was right. We're not saying that when you stand by somebody, you stand by somebody. Like when you were saying that, like Cuomo said, that's my brother. You can have a brother and not love him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's real shit. Like when you say that's my brother and I love my brother, I can't. Is he wrong? I ain't saying shit. Y'all say whatever you want to say. I'm gonna stand right here with my fam. I'm good.
Yeah.
And you get painted with the same brush, deservedly so. But you still stand by the people that you count as a friend and you're loyal to.
Yeah,
you don't see
regardless
that.
of what. Like, it's a weird scenario. I mean, God bless the dead. You know, we went through the same thing with Chris Cotton, where Chris Cotton got into it with an audience member, then punched him in the face, and then came to me, and I had to defend my friend, even though he's 100% in the wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not ready to weigh in against Cotton on this one. I'm kind of on his side.
You never heard this one? He fucking this guy. After
No,
the show
Geno
came
was
up,
there.
You were there?
Geno came.
I wasn't there.
Geno
I was the only one who
left
wasn't there.
on stage while this happened.
Oh my
and this
God.
is how much of a psychopath. I don't know whether Geno is drunk or what. But
Probably
like
drunk, probably
Geno, you know, you're supposed to do what, 12 minutes? Geno ends up doing like a nice 30, right? Because the host
spinning plates.
the host doesn't come back, right? So he ends up having to close the show and come out. And he comes into the green room, and Chris and I are in cuffs.
Yeah.
All right. There's 2 other gentlemen in cuffs. My nose is bleeding. I'm soaked in blood on my shirt. And he just looks at us and he grabs his book bag and he goes, all right, you guys take care of yourself, right?
I'm like, I just did 30 minutes. Like, I'm guessing Cotton's not coming back to close it.
Hold on, not
you
to
know,
be
you're
too
like, this
inside
explains
baseball,
it.
but at some point, and this is why I know I drink too much. I had no idea you guys, anybody was in cuffs at this point. So double salute to Chris. Cause
yeah,
he knew
we weren't. Yeah, we weren't
That's
released
fucking
until
hilarious.
the owner came back and showed the
is-
surveillance tape that they weren't supposed to be in that room and that's where the fight took
Wow.
place.
But it's amazing, and I literally sent this text to our boss, Kumya, and I call him the boss, but he's a dear friend at this point. He's so good to us. But it's like I'm like, I can't say it anymore because I always say, look, I'm not trying to be a total guinea, and then I bring up a story about loyalty, and it seems like I was hanging out at New York Comedy Club this past weekend, okay, and I'm hanging out with a comic buddy of mine that I did a show with a couple weeks ago in fucking Delaware. Have you done the Delaware gig? Not like it matters. But, right?
Starboard?
Yeah.
Nah.
And I did again, and I'm doing the gig there, and it's packed, but it's a big. I don't mean like, it's packed, but it's packed. It's a fucking beach gig on a Tuesday. There's nothing else to do. They come out, you know, and I'm doing great, and like, there's like 100 people, and like the whole right side. And I do this joke, and in the joke, like when the crowd's with me, I'm like, the first person ever to say "nigger, please" was Thomas Jefferson. It was the preferences of his eHarmony profile. Thank you. And I say, thank you, incredibly white kid who's laughing because you're not afraid of the black guy. You're closer to the door. And in the joke, I say, if you laugh at that joke, you win because you realize that's a brilliant joke. And it's made to to poke fun at like our history and who we are. But if you say, well, that's a bad word and shut it down, then it's what we said. You literally made yourself sick. You didn't let yourself laugh, which we said is healing. And I go through this and it's great. And one table gets pissed, okay? And they walk out, okay? And they walk out 2 people, right? And then they bitch to the owner, and fucking Matt Scarpelli, who's a piece of shit, who just fucking has done the same act for 30 years so he can fucking book himself on the show and take way too much money because he's a piece of shit. Matt Scarpelli, Google it. I don't mind. Thank you. Scarpelli. If you Google comedy, he won't come up because he sucks a giant dick. But like, please, remember Steve Bix?
Yeah.
Another guy that would read menus, and I realized, and I said this to Berg, I'm like, this guy is taking, and I said it wrong. It's like, I said, it's taking food out of your daughter's mouth. I'm like, he's taking money out of your daughter's mouth. And Berg goes, my daughter doesn't eat money. And I'm like, you're right, I'm stupid. And because I get so full of myself, and I'm on a soapbox, taking money out of your daughter's mouth. My daughter doesn't eat money.
I love that line. That is beautiful.
So,
I'm stealing that.
I don't know how he puts up with it.
I know. We got to get Aaron on this show.
But the point is, and so one guy bitches, and the guy, Scarpelli, who's not in the room, who's the booker, and if he was doing his job, be like, yeah, I saw it, nothing happened. He's like, the next day he gets the email. He's like, I wasn't there. So he's just like, yeah, that's what must have happened. He can't explain away what happened, where one table walked down and everything's fine. And if you watch the context of the joke, you could explain it. Not saying you'd be like, you could at least say this is what he did. And, so the kid that was with me, like, we're at New York Comedy Club. He's like, yeah. I'm like, how many people left? He goes, to the whole left side of the room. I'm like, wow, you forget yourself. And I just look at him. I go like this. Who booked you on that gig again? And he shuts up because it was fucking me.
Yeah.
And look, I think I can take a joke. You guys have known me as well as anyone. But again, it's like, when did I become this Omerta Guinea loyalty shit? And I don't think I have. I think simple loyalty has fallen by the wayside. It's like, make sure you suck all the cock of the people at New York Comedy Club, who I love. Be sure to listen to my album recorded there. Uncle Geno is amazing. But I can't be bothered with simple loyalty. And that's what circles all the way back to where I am now. It's like, I'm not vaccinated. Well, I don't know. I don't care if you are. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
If you're like, get away from me, you unvaxxed psycho, and no one has, or vice versa, no one vaccinated, and I haven't said that anyone. It's fine, but let's see what happens. I can't imagine that this ban is going to hold on. And if it does, I won't be surprised. But it's more, in my opinion, of de Blasio going, hey, this will fucking make it hard for them. And all the people that are unvaccinated at this point don't want to get vaccinated. But he thinks we're going to be like, well, he's made it so difficult. Let me just get vaccinated. No, it makes you double down. It's like, you're treating us like a fucking mook.
Not only that, but think about this for a second. The people who aren't getting vaccinated, this ban shit isn't going to really affect them because the people who aren't getting vaccinated are majority of people in the hood that ain't getting vaccinated. Let's get that shit out the way.
Yeah.
Right? So these motherfuckers ain't going to no restaurants. They ain't going to the gym. They ain't going to So what are you doing?
They just
dividing. Yeah, you're gonna have 2 completely different, and it's not gonna be no longer city and suburban. There's going to be like society and then wildlings.
I want to be Buffalo Wildlings.
Yeah. Geno, man, this has been amazing, man. Where can people find you if they're looking for you online, buddy?
Just go to GenoBisconte.com. You can't spell it incorrectly if you put Geno Bisconte comedian, GenoBisconte. I'm not on Twitter. I'm banned, and I just never, I didn't even bother going back after the last banning.
Yeah.
I was on it a year, and I had, In Hot Water, which I do, and you guys, I had 3,000 fans. I'm not good at Twitter.
Yeah.
All I do with Twitter is speech to text angrily in response to shit like an 8th grade girl. And it's like, why are you even on it? It was like, don't bother.
Fake Italian.
It's all I do. I'm the worst.
Twitter in general.
He needs to hire somebody.
Yeah.
We're gonna. No. Somebody will do this
Maybe
for free.
A 7th grade girl. Maybe they'd be better.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to sublet their Twitter to Geno.
No, don't.
So you get.
Don't waste it.
I'm telling you, if you need followers, you need to hit Geno up and fucking tell Geno. Just tell me what to tweet on your behalf.
If you have
like
too
a puppet
many
dictator in fucking Central America in the 80s.
If you have too many followers, have me do one tweet for you.
Are you trying to downsize? Uncle Geno can help you out.
I'm amazing at downsizing.
Get your Twitter deactivated. It's like one of those ways of helping you just eliminate all of your bad tweets
terrible.
by just saying, Geno, hack your account.
Yeah.
and got it deactivated, and then it's gone.
Can we agree that one motherfucker who should have multiple burner accounts does it?
Yeah.
All these soft ass celebrities and fucking reality show people have multiple burner accounts to insult people.
Yeah.
Like the one guy who should definitely be on Twitter in some fucking fashion.
Yeah, I'm the worst.
It's banned.
That's what they do.
And
with
he's
the
so
truth,
fucking
man.
loyal to his principles. He won't fucking create a burner account.
Loyalty. Yeah, man.
I'm not good at it.
Yeah, man. That's what loyalty gets you, man. Look, I got it branded on my arm. It's done nothing for me.
People don't understand.
Loyalty has done nothing.
But we're
Except ensure you don't show up to a job interview in short sleeves.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
We're fiercely loyal, and it really is. It's like I get it now. It's like, yeah, that's it. It's like I don't get. It's the easiest thing to be for people like us.
Yeah.
And it's the most insane thing for. It's like I get it. You think you're like I don't know who's gonna be here in the room. This is what I find myself saying all the time, and this will resonate with you guys. I hear my mother saying, "They're not your friends." Then he's not your friend.
Wow, yeah.
You know
My
what I
mom
mean?
used to say that all the time.
Of course she did.
Oh my God, my
Then
mom.
they're not your
My
friends.
best friend. That's not your friend.
That's not
I
your
don't think
friend.
parents say that enough nowadays.
Yeah.
People don't fucking know what parenting is. That's false, but so many don't now. God forgive me.
Well, this has been a good one, man. I'm Dave Temple. These are Unpopular Opinions. Check it out.